Camden, which queen?
I choose Bosco.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Welcome to the shop, and in this episode, a lip-sync Lollapalooza, Smackdown, Eleganza, Extravaganza, Queen of Puerto Vallarta, whatever it is. We have the most rigged lip-sync of all times, and yes, of course I have charts for that, and at the end, some more charts, because why not, and the speculations as usual. We are back in the workroom. It's time for our last chapter in the Daya versus Jasmine feud.
Why am I in the bottom? And the two people that have consistently done pretty poor in the past few challenges are getting not only another chance, but a chance at something they're both really good at.
No offense, Jasmine, no offense, Jorgeous, but you've been in the bottom a lot.
She's pretty pissed, and she's not shy about it, which kind of reminds me of Scarlett, and I am leaving already.
Do not put no offense in front of something when you're gonna say something rude. That means that you mean it.
I don't completely agree on that. Sometimes you can use it if you expect the other people to not react very well to your feedback, or really to hide your intention. I mean, when you use an expression like that, there is like no way in between. Now, Daya just said, you've been in the bottom a lot. She didn't say you performed like shit.
Am I the only person that feels this way? I mean, seriously, let's be honest.
I know for a fact, by the looks on some of these girls' faces, Bosco, that you're just as unhappy as I am with it.
Somehow, Daya has grown on me. She tells what everybody is not willing to say. Like, we have reaction shots from Lady British, we have reaction shots from Bosco. Nobody is saying anything. Daya is the only one willing to say, well, we have two queens in here, basically brought to the top 8. Top 8, my god, it's episode 11, we are starting with the top 8. Without performing that well during the competition. Nobody says anything. Until Daya has to come in a confessional telling us it's Bosco. Bosco is the one that thinks the same, and she's not saying anything. It's a new day in the workroom and everyone is freaking the fuck out. So Daya asks Bosco to confirm that she was not happy about the situation. Daya is like, no way I'm going to be the only one complaining about this. You all agree you need to come out about it. So she asks Bosco directly. And Bosco is like, yeah, maybe you're kind of right. And then quickly turns away the conversation, talking about how she's not going to go home tonight. She's absolutely not going to go home. And then intercepts with a mismatched confessionals to tell us that she's scared of not being prepared enough, and she's scared of going against Jasmine and Jorgeous. Then Willow intercept with a mismatched confessional of her own to confirm that Bosco, yes, she is really nervous, and she can see the cracks. So I don't know why they had to bring queens from many different time frames in here, but my best guess is that they are kind of trying to support this narrative that Bosco is really scared, Bosco is really anxious, and this maybe sets up a kind of nice mini redemption arc for her during this episode. Then after this, Daya confirms that she doesn't want to lip sync against Jorgeous and Jasmine as well. She's the second queen to do so, and in doing so, she's also kind of raising expectation for the both of them. And by the end of this, the young and talented will rise, and Jasmine will inevitably fall. No matter what happens, this is the narrative that we have, this is the narrative that they're going to stick to. But before all of that happens, it's time for one last Jasmine versus Daya moment. And what follows is the best exchange of the whole season. I was living for all of that.
Instead of saying no offense, which is kind of just a buffer, okay, why don't you just say it out loud?
I didn't know I was talking to a counselor right now.
Well, no, it's just a question.
We all got bad critiques, but you guys did get really harsh critiques.
Yeah.
That's why. No offense.
Daya is like in full Heather mode, and Jasmine is shook. And in all of this, while everybody is freaking the fuck out, Deja is living her best life. She doesn't give a shit. She is staying there, being beautiful, laughing at everyone, being anxious as hell. And in addition to that, she even put some pressure on the girls, because why not? You gotta stir the pot a little bit.
I'm sorry y'all got to stress today, but I feel good.
All these bitches are sweating in their pants, and I'm not.
Sissy that wow.
Bitch, what if they brought back the other girl?
Stop, Deja! Shut up!
Oh my god!
I didn't even think of that.
She even comes in a confessional saying, okay, you know what? Give me some popcorn. I am ready. No offense. Wink, wink.
Give me some popcorn, because I'm ready. No offense.
This really was a magical moment. And speaking about magic, all of these that we see happening in here, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Because if you keep an eye on the makeup of the girls, it keeps going back and forward in time as usual. Does it matter? Yes, it matters, but until a certain point. I will not spend time tracking it down, because when I do that, it's usually to disprove villain edits, to disprove the editors exaggerating the negative portrayal of queens and thus exaggerating everything that happens on social media. So it has a point, it has a function. But if it's entertaining, there's really not much of a problem. Nevertheless, a shout out to Luke, who sent me this on Twitter because they noticed that Jorgeous' makeup kept going back and forward in time. So props to you. How about this lip sync battle is the new Sweatsicle. These girls are so horny. Phoenix, I think it's funny how everyone was like, screw Daya, but when Bosco lived for it, then the cast lived for it too. I think they're starting to understand that Daya Betty is not really going to get a proper villain edit. When you are in there filming Drag Race, you kind of have to keep an eye on everybody's edit. Because if you cannot pinpoint the villain, then chances are that the villain is you. We are back in the main stage, and ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between of course, get your compost pile ready. Because the hilarious Ross Matthew is here with us tonight, and thank God we don't have any critiques, because I could have lost my shit. I really could have lost my shit. No more Ross. He had one of the worst story arc across multiple seasons of Drag Race. He started as my favorite thing in the world, ended up being such a pain in the ass to listen to. I mean, I'm happy that he's getting the coins. Of course, I'm happy that he's getting the coins, but at least try, Ross, a little bit. So, how does this lip sync SmackDown Lollapalooza Queen of Puerto Vallarta actually work? We have a member of the pit crew picking a ball with the name of a queen, with the initials of a queen actually, and that queen will get to choose the opponent. Then the opponent will get to choose the song. It's a good format. I like it. It's certainly much better than the wheel. Is it fair though? Well, I found some interesting things in the edit. They don't definitely point to anything, but you know, if they start messing up with the edit and teleporting things back and forth, what it usually means is that they played a little bit dirty. But I'm going to show you a couple of things, and you can tell me what you think at that point. First up, Jasmine versus Daya Betty. So Jasmine gets picked, she picks Daya Betty to lip sync against, which is an amazing choice because that's the lip sync that we wanted to see. So thanks Jasmine for that. The edit in the lip sync is honest. Both of the girls are trying to do the best they can. But there are some things that I really didn't like about this lip sync. I didn't like that Daya was constantly stepping in front of Jasmine. This is not the first time in this season that we see something like this happening. For me, it's incredibly annoying. On Jasmine's side, I didn't really like the fact that she was doing so many splits. I mean, it splits, dips, jump, spins into a split. I mean, yes, it's impressive, but this is Aretha Franklin. You don't do that. So while I was watching this, I had kind of major flashback from season 4. Do you remember season 4? Latrice versus Kenya Michaels? Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Who won this? Well, for me, in a way, it's kind of a less of two evils. I'm not very satisfied with both of them. But to me, Daya Betty was the most forgivable because you don't split to an Aretha Franklin song. You don't do that. You just don't do it. It's like removing your wig. Bonus clip, of course, we have Ross' reaction to Daya Betty. I don't know if you can see it, but his face is basically telling you, I'm receiving a coffee enema right now, and I am enjoying the shit out of it. Look how happy he is. It's like, oh yes, this is good, go deeper. Go deeper, make it a double coffee, I am enjoying it. After this, we have Willow versus Bosco. So Willow gets randomly picked and she chooses Bosco. She chooses Bosco's because she's like, you know what, I would like a specific song. So since I'm not going to get it, then I'm going to choose the queen who I think will be the most likely to actually choose that song. And she is incredibly lucky because not only Bosco managed to choose a song that she wanted, she's also the worst lip syncer in the whole bunch. So it's going to be a murder on stage. And Willow is killing everybody on that stage. She's embodying the song, she's doing incredibly well. And while she is doing all of her things, Bosco is running around, showing some cranky moves that somehow are supposed to be sexy and seductive, but to me, frankly, they only look stiff and out of place. I don't see the connection with the song. I don't see how her body, the moves that she does, have a significance within the song. She looks like she has no idea what she's doing. You know, at times you really see her stopping for a moment as if she's thinking, okay, which move am I going to do next? It's bad. It really looks bad. It looks desperate at best. And deranged at worst. I was shocked by Bosco's performance. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting it to be so bad. That Bosco is a little bit stiff when it comes to lip syncing. Like a little bit, the smallest bit. It's Gottmik all over again. The only thing that I'm left thinking is she going to God Crunch at some point or not? If you don't know the definition of God Crunch is that crunchy ass lip sync that Gottmik had the nerve to do twice in season 13. Thanks Phoenix Rising or Amateur season for the definition. I don't remember who actually was. But no, Bosco is not going to God Crunch. Not yet. That is for the second lip sync. So by the end of this, Willow wins, of course, and Bosco will have to lip sync again. At this point, something else that's very interesting happens, because all of the girls in the backstage actually got to see that if they're going to go against Bosco, it's basically an automatic win. Keep that in mind, because Bosco will be the first queen to be chosen next. So let's move on to our third lip sync smackdown, and this time we have Georgina Cha-Cha versus Angeria versus Lady British. The song is chosen by Georgina actually. She goes for Radio by Beyonce instead of J-Lo, which was an interesting choice, and later on I'm going to show you something about the fact that Jorgeous was the queen who got to choose the song, and it's going to be interesting. Nevertheless, she gets randomly picked to choose the song, and she chooses Radio. Apparently she likes a challenge, and in a way I respect the hell out of that, because she could have gone for the easy choice, but she didn't. Now, Angeria is doing her best, but next to Jorgeous, she's outdancing her. There is no going around it. Lady British also knows that she has no chance to ever outdance both Angeria and Jorgeous, so she kind of tries to stand out by taking the campy approach, but to me it's dead on arrival. There is not much competition on that stage. Georgina is basically murdering everyone. End of the story. Period. So she wins and she's safe. The goddess and the British lady kinda will have to lip sync again. And now that we get to the lip sync number 4, something interesting happens, because we have our pit crew guy choosing a ball. There are 4 queens of stage. It's the round 2 lip syncs. We have Lady, Angeria, Jasmine and Bosco waiting to know who is going to lip sync against who. But in the basket there are 3 balls, not 4. And if you look back to the lip sync that we saw before, the basket has 4 balls in there, but there were 3 queens on stage.
Calix, please do us the honor. Calix, please do us the honor. Please pick a ball. Show us whose ball you are holding.
It's kind of suspicious. What the hell is going on? I don't know. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Maybe it's just a simple error. Maybe in editing they fucked it up, you know, it can be. It can also be that they completely rigged the shit out of it because they wanted Jorgeous to be absolutely sure she would have the right to choose the song that she wanted, and in the end she didn't even do that. And then they absolutely wanted to have Lady Camden choose who was she going to lip sync against. Why, you ask? Well, that's important because we know that Lady British would have never ever chosen Jasmine. She would have picked virtually anybody else. Maybe Angeria, maybe Bosco, most probably Bosco because she saw her lip syncing. But one thing is for sure, she would not pick Jasmine. which means that Jasmine will be the only bitch who will be forced to lip sync twice in a row without any pause. And this is great, because by the end of the episode, Jasmine will have to go home. And somehow, they will have to make her look as if she lost the lip sync. So if she arrives at the last lip sync completely destroyed, that's a very good thing.
Camden, which queen?
I choose Bosco.
Oh my god. What the fuck?
In my fantasy, RuPaul doesn't even have a chance to finish the sentence. Because Lady British is like, I choose Bosco. I choose Bosco. Let's go to the lip sync. The assassination of Bosco by Lady British. Lady British is doing kind of okay for me. I am not blown away, but she's doing okay. She's trying her best to embody the song, and it's actually working pretty well. I am not really sold on the sexy side of Lady British. I don't know, maybe it's just a screenshot. Somehow Lady Camden looks like me when I try to act sexy. You would look at me and say, what the fuck are you doing? I'm not going to even touch you. Get away. This is what I get from Lady. It's camp. That's what I wanted to say. It's camp. She is doing well in the lip sync. Nobody is denying that. On the other hand, you have Bosco wandering around the main stage, doing the exact same moves from the first lip sync. It's like in her head, she has like a list, you know, like rolling cards, where she goes, okay, which moves do I have? This one, then this one. Okay, which one am I going to go to next? And she like cycles through the same moves over and over without really matching them with the kind of song she's lip syncing to. At some point, she even tried to show some versatility by actually got crunching on stage at the end of the song. And it's as crunchy as you can expect it to be. If you didn't believe the parallelism with Gottmik before, now you can never take it out of your mind. It's there to stay. It's living rent-free in your mind until the end of the season. Possibly even longer. So by the end of this, Lady British wins. She is safe. Bosco will have to lip sync for a third time. Meanwhile, in the workroom, for some reason, Daya was so horny for Lady British that she tried to eat a fly.
Oh look, there's a fly on my straw. Hello?
Eat it. I'll give you $1.
Whole dollar. It fully almost did it.
I'm fucking gagged.
I don't know. I stopped asking questions. I'm just sitting back, relaxing, enjoying the show, and living my life. Danny, the way Daya was horny this episode is so relatable. Yes, I completely agree with that. Ferret Fur, do you watch The Pit Stop? No, I don't watch anything World of Wonder because even though from time to time you have some gaggy moments with the guests, it's mostly, you know, they are reinforcing storylines for the show. It's produced by the same producers of the show and the girls do what they have to do in order to get their check. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, at the end of the month you have to pay your bills. But no, I don't watch it. So, Angeria versus Jasmine, lip syncing to the last song. When this is starting, seeing what was going on with Jasmine, I already kind of had the idea that yes, they are going to make Jasmine lose no matter what. So for me the point was not if Jasmine was going to win or lose, the point was how is she going to lose. And I was surprised by the fact that the editing in this lip sync was kind of fair. We had 3 positive reaction shots from the workroom, 2 for Angeria, 1 for Jasmine, which is not a bad ratio, and we basically saw both of the girls on screen for roughly the same amount of time. Both of them are doing very well. Jasmine for me added something more. She is really pulling all the stops. It's her song to slay and it shows. To me, she was the winner of this lip sync. Now, what I found interesting is that the girl in the workroom kind of confirmed that Angie was not doing very much.
Honestly, Angie really knew the words and she wasn't doing a lot.
I was really surprised by Daya because despite her differences, she is praising Jasmine.
I think Jasmine did really good. It's really wanting it to be Angie, but there's also part of me that's like, Jasmine did hold her fucking own. I gotta give props where it's due, and Jasmine like gave the sex of it.
At least we get another shade of Daya. She's like, you know what, I can be real. I will be real. Jasmine embodied the song. Jasmine did incredibly well. I was surprised that this passed the edit, because that's not something that you usually see when somebody who should win her lip sync is made to look as if she lost. This was kind of unusual. I think it was made more in favor of Diabetes' edit, because it reinforces the idea that she is not a villain, she is just being real. She's a header, but not a villain. It has more to do with her edit than with the perception that we have of Jasmine's performance in this lip sync. Nevertheless, if we have to be fair, this is the only lip sync in this whole Lollapalooza SmackDown Queen of Puerto Vallarta Eleganza Extravaganza that I would say, yes, this can be a close call. If people come to me and tell me, listen, Angeria versus Jasmine was a close call, then I might say, well, yeah, I can kind of agree on that, but this is the only one. All of the other lip sync were murders on the main stage. Nevertheless, by the end of this, Angeria wins, she's safe, Jasmine will have to lip sync against Bosco. And you know that shit is really going to go downhill. Now, this to me is the most rigged lip sync in the history of the show, at least in a very long time. It's even worse than the Carrie versus Alyssa, and I think that premise already gives you an idea of what's going on in here. So we know that Jasmine is already starting at a disadvantage because she is lip syncing immediately after her lip sync against Angeria. You can even see the sweat still on her face. It's literally back to back. Nevertheless, Jasmine is doing great. She is completely adapting to the song, she's working the whole stage, she is effortless, and it's entertaining to watch. Bosco, on the other hand, she's kind of lying there trying to be sexy for the third time in a row, and by pure coincidence, this time it actually goes well with the song. But I mean, there is really no comparison between the two. In order for Bosco to win this one, they had to rig the shit out of this lip sync. Apart from the usual teleporting, and there's a ton of that, which is a staple of Drag Race, the camera is completely in favor of Bosco. How much in favor, you ask? Well, I created a chart, which is not the complete chart. I will make a separate video about that to get it more in depth. When you adjust the time, because what the graph that you see is not real time, it's adjusted time that takes into account also the perception that you get by the forced perspective. But Bosco is shown for the vast majority of the time. When we count the positive reaction shots, Bosco has 14 positive reaction shots. Jasmine has 3. Bosco was basically in your face all of the time. Jasmine completely disappeared. They did Jasmine incredibly dirty because of this. So I'm left asking with a question. If they wanted to throw Jasmine out, why didn't they do it when she lip-synced against Jorgeous? It would have made perfect sense. Also from a storyline point of view, it makes sense. It would have made much more sense than whatever is this bullshit that we got served. And you know why? Because since the rigor is so evident, it diminishes Bosco. She is just not good at lip sync, but after all of this, people are going to actively dislike her because she is the one who robbed Jasmine. And she didn't rob anyone. She is just doing her best. This is the producer's doing. For me, from a producing perspective, this was a shit decision. It was really a shit decision. Jasmine should have gone home way before. After this, Jasmine got sent home. She needs to open her chocolate bar and it's chocolate. So Jasmine gets sent home. Let's move on to the speculations. If you remember from the episode chart, their prediction is 16 episodes. I don't think we are going to get a gag in episode 14. Now, even though in the chart you see episode 14 as the golden ticket, that's just to make everything make sense. It's not necessarily going to happen in episode 14. But episode 14 is that when you get to choose our top 4. So the episode will start with the top 5, it will end up with the top 4. The fourth queen is very likely not even decided yet. They probably filmed both eliminations and then they're going to see how the fans react and decide who is going to continue to the finale and who is going to stop at the top 5. Episode 14 already has enough shock value by itself. It's stupid to bring in a double elimination or the chocolate bar in episode 14. It's a waste of shock value, if you ask me. The smart thing to do would be to ratio those 3 gaggy moments, because we have basically 3 competitive episodes left and 3 different gaggy moments. So it would make perfect sense to ratio the shock value, 1 for every episode. So for me, next episode, episode 12, it's either going to be a double elimination or a chocolate bar. Then the episode after, episode 13, either the double elimination or the chocolate bar, and episode 14 featuring the top 5 and by the end of it, the proper top 4. What's going to happen next episode, episode 12? Looking at the chart, it looks like it's diabetic time to go home. Now, how sure is that? Well, I learned to trust the chart. It's not as evident as it was with Jasmine because they are all basically almost there. If you look at it, Diabetic has 40 points, Deja and Jorgeous have 45, Lady 47, Bosco 48. So everyone but Angeria is kind of in the same league. And if you look at the previous chart, here it is, the last one was Jasmine with 24 points. Followed by Deja with 38. So it was very, very clear who was going to go home. So who is going to go home in the next episode? Well, if it's the gold bar, nobody is going home. If it's the double elimination, for me, I would totally go for Diabetic and Deja. Partly because I learned to trust the chart, and partly because it's kind of time for Deja to go home. For me, she was the Gen of the season. She broke the cycle of being Gen in a season by finally getting a win, and now she's basically ready to go home. She has no storyline. She has risen too late in the competition to have any chance of a silent assassin kind of edit. It's just not going to happen. For all of the reasons that I repeated in every speculations in the past 3 episodes, it's kind of time for Deja to go home, for sure. And Diabetic, not only she's the last one in the chart, her storyline with Jasmine is actually finished now that Jasmine has gone home. We will see how much of that will come true, but I would really bet my ass that in the next 3 episodes they are going to ratio the shock value. Now, chocolate bar, who has it? For me, it's either Willow or Bosco. Willow would make sense because it would be she really is the emotional connection of the season. The problem is, if you want to make her look like she is losing a lip sync, you will have to do some more editing magic in order to convince anyone that she is losing the lip sync. On the other hand, if you give it to Bosco, it would make complete sense because it's very easy to make her look like she is losing a lip sync. You just need to let the camera catch her. And also, they kind of try to do their best to make the whole chocolate bar thing look legit, with the queens signing the bars, so it would make perfect sense for Bosco to lose a lip sync and then turn out the chocolate bar. With that said, imagine if Jorgeous has it. That would be gaggy. That would be the real gag of the season. You want to go for the shock value, give it to Jorgeous. People will lose their shit, I can guarantee you that. And that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks to our patrons for supporting the channel. A shout out to Jill and Louise, who just joined last week, and if you would like to support the channel as well, there is a link in the description. I will see you back on Saturday, not on Sunday, because on Sunday I will be leaving and I won't be able to stream for the next couple of weeks. So the live stream for episode 12 will actually be on Saturday. I will also leave a post in the community section of the channel so that everyone is on the same page. Thank you so much for watching, have a great week, and I will see you soon.